Hello everybody, I'm Tom Matuska, back again with the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and this is Mandy Swart and our camera lady Kirsten, and we're going to continue our rock and try to finalize this because we had some snafus.
Technology is just, you never know what it's going to do and what's going to happen. So we take one day at a time, and if this goes out, we'll try
We had
another day.
IT people here all morning long today.
And Friday.
Yeah. So we're going to try to pick up, and some of you saw what we did last week and probably have a pretty good idea of how to do this by now. But we're going to do a quick recap on making your own rocks, making latex molds, how to take those latex molds, make we call them auto body rocks, and use those to make a base, and how to finish that base for your specimen that's going on, your work of art that's going on that.
Side note, big congratulations to all the winners at the Nationals.
Oh gosh,
That
there's
was
a lot
last
of
weekend.
Iowa, Wisconsin people. Big congratulations to Craig Cavalier.
Our very own Brett Wingfield. Brett got National Champion Warm Water Fish. He got the Wasco Award and first place Nationals Challenge of the Art. So way to go, Brett.
Darren Brinks and Elliot Brinks.
Sam Cahoy.
Sam Cahoy. Kent Reedy.
Rodney. Rodney was carrying boxes out, it looked like, on Facebook.
Boxes of awards. Rodney Spruce.
Taxidermist of the Year.
Dave Schmidt. Clint Rickey.
Uncle Dave was there too?
Yeah.
I didn't see pictures.
Wolverines and Bears.
Attaboy.
Lance Johnson from North Dakota. Congratulations, Lance.
Yeah. Way to go, you guys. There's so many. Send us pictures. We love pictures. Love to see it.
Nick Genero. Nick, I gotta apologize because I've known you for a long time and I don't think I've ever really known how to pronounce your name. I've heard it.
That's not how I would have said it.
And maybe
Genero.
that's not the way it's supposed to be said. Nick, congratulations. I apologize.
Way to go.
Tim Grenchen.
I think it goes. You can.
Scott Roscoe. A lot
Who am I
of
missing, Brett?
big winners.
What? Clint. Oh, Clint Rickey.
I said that. I said Clint.
Yeah.
Okay, on to rocks. A lot of you, this is kind of for the do-it-yourselfers, and as I'm making this, I'm thinking the number one question that's going to come up is, why aren't you using, you know, the rock panels like Dale Manning cells and things like that? Those are very easy to make too. This is more of the do-it-yourselfer, and you can make your own rocks, you can make your own rock molds without buying a big panel. There's other ways to do this. This is the way I started out before there ever were rock panels, and it's a pretty not necessarily easy, but will give you a very, very, very nice product.
Another big question I saw people ask last week was, why aren't you using the real rock?
The real rock, okay, here's why. Kirsten, can you pan over to this rock? This is the base I'm making. We haven't got to, for you people, we haven't got to this part yet. If this were real rock, it would be weight prohibitive. It's not something that you could ever use. This is the rock that I use for my model, for my prototype, and it weighs nearly 80 pounds. So that's why you don't use the real rock. If you're using a little rock for a bird, very difficult to drill into for leg wires, you know, that sort of thing. That's my big reason for rocks. I do sometimes on small bases, maybe I have a fish on a little piece of driftwood that's on a pedestal mount. I will go out in the parking lot and I'll put kind of a couple of little attractive rocks, and I will put small stones on there that add a little weight, but nothing, you know, that you can't handle. I backpacked this rock. I didn't actually backpack it. I think we pulled over on the side of the road in Colorado and I picked it up and threw it in Donnie's truck.
Stick to the backpack part.
But I carried this rock over 3 canyons. But it was kind of an attractive rock, and we're driving down the road and I said, stop the car, stop the car. And I run out, and every time I found something like this, you know, I would waddle over to the back of the truck and put it in. And I came up with a few like this. I don't think you can probably do that, but the statute of limitations is over, I think, for stealing rocks from a national forest. I think it was a rancher's rock pile. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to make a mold of a rock that I like, and this is a latex mold made of molding latex. Molding latex comes in different terms, depends on what store you buy it from, which vendor you buy it from. It may be called something else, but ours is called molding latex. It looks like pudding inside. It smells like ammonia. And here's how, do we have a little piece of burlap somewhere I can show them how to do that? Here's how easy this is to make a reproduction of that rock. All I'm going to do is take the molding latex. I'm not putting any mold release on my model. And I'm going to paint molding latex in kind of an even coat. Over the entire half of the rock. You do have to get it off, and it doesn't handle a lot of undercuts. I mean, it's pretty stretchy, but
what? You have some? Do you want some?
yeah.
I'll give you some
Oh,
of this.
give me
kit.
just a little sliver. Okay, I paint the entire rock. Just to save time, I won't do any more. I'll paint it down to about here. You can see that this went all the way down to the table.
Huh?
I let that dry.
Bigger slip.
Perfect. I don't want my mold to pick up the imprint of the burlap, so I let this dry and I paint on another coat and another coat and another coat. I'll paint on 3 to 4 coats, letting it dry in between. Rubber latex will dry in the fall and winter. It'll dry faster. In the summer, it doesn't dry as fast. Put a fan on it, but it'll dry in 20 minutes to a half an hour. Once I've got 3 to 4 coats on, I will paint my rock with a nice thicker coat of rubber latex. And I like to lay either, I have 2 methods of doing this. Burlap works well. Otherwise, I like to use gauze. Gauze is kind of pricey. If you ever have to go buy gauze, it's way more expensive than burlap, and burlap does the job just fine. And this is the same thing as laminating polyester resin to make a fiberglass mold. Depending on the size of the rock, if it were a small rock, this is a smaller mold that I think Amber and Brett did the other day. This just has 1 layer of burlap on it. 1 layer of burlap. On a big mold like this, I'll probably put 2 to 3. So I'll let this one dry, and then I will paint it heavy with rubber latex again, and I will put another layer of burlap in it, let it dry, another layer of burlap, and at that time, you'll be able to peel it off. And like I said, you don't need any mold release.
Don't ruin it. That's the one Ricky wants.
He wants that one?
He wants the mold of it.
And you can just peel it, and it will turn inside out and peel right off of that rock. We're gonna finish that one. We'll give it a couple more layers of burlap.
We got Marie watching again from New Zealand.
Oh,
Hi,
thanks, Marie.
And Ray from Virginia. And James Joseph, Pennsylvania in the house. Hey guys, love hearing where you're from.
Once we pull the mold off, this is what you're gonna have. It's very flexible. It will collapse. It won't stay up by itself. When I make my positive out of this, I will just prop it up. You can make a mother mold if you think you have to, but we usually don't do that. Okay. The rock is been used. Now you can do another side of that rock. You can do this end of that rock. You can do. I've only done one side of that rock ever, I think, and came up with this. Now, to make the positive, you do need a mold release between the rubber latex mold and what you put in here to make your rock.
And that's what you do the deep flex with?
Deep Flex. Deep Flex is a great product.
So it covers a lot?
Very inexpensive. I just swab it in with a brush. Dab up, you don't need, it'll run all to the bottom. Just dab up what runs around. It's almost like a silicone. Like I just made a rock this morning out of this and it feels real slippery still. But I give it a coat of Deep Flex mold release. Then we like to use auto body putty, and we call it. We refer to it as Bondo. I just always have because Bondo is a brand name. This one is Auto Body Master lightweight body filler. Seems like for our purposes, the cheaper the better. We don't need an expensive auto body filler. I think you can buy Bondo at Walmart for $15.
I think so.
So this is a little too thick to pour. I like to mix polyester resin in with that. And I think if you watched the video from 2 weeks ago, Amber and Brett made one. I put it in here and I rotate it around. Just keep, you want it pourable so that it runs, and get as much of this mold coated as you can with Bondo, Auto Body Putty, whichever. Once it sets up, I just prop it up like that somewhere so it kind of maintains its shape, and it'll harden very, very fast. Then I pull out my replica rock. And it'll take a little, you have to pry it from the sides. Depending on your undercut, sometimes they come out very, very easy, sometimes they're more difficult. So does everybody follow me so far? Go ahead and type in questions if you don't. Rubber latex onto the real rock. We built it up with burlap or gauze. If you do gauze, it's going to take a lot of coats. It'd take 4 or 5, 6 coats of gauze to build up. You need wall thickness so it will support itself like this. Then, once you have your mold done, pull it off. Don't forget, you do need a mold release. Now in this, there's probably, Andy could probably tell me the cost. I don't know what rubber latex is, but I probably have the better part of a quart building up this. It shrinks down quite a bit. So I got probably a quart of rubber latex in here, plus my burlap, which is not very expensive. Then, put your deep flex mold release in, your auto body putty, twirl it around. Do it outside because the fumes are pretty bad to smell.
$23.95
How much?
$23.95 for a quart. We also sell it in a pint and a gallon.
$23.95 to make this mold. And I've had this mold, I'll bet you, for 30 years. And I have made hundreds of auto body rocks out of this. And I've made entire mountains out of using this one over and over and over.
Just different angles and shapes
Yeah.
and cuts. And
So now you have something like that. We use rubber latex for another thing to give you some ideas. On the backs of our fish, to camouflage the seams, we make what's called impression pads. And this was a mounted walleye. I painted several coats of rubber latex on, reinforced it with gauze, peeled it off, and I have a scale impression. This just lays in my drawer. It's kind of old and grungied up. Lays in my drawer. I will put some kind of putty over the seam of my single-sided fish, dip this in safety solvent, works good, and rock it over your Epoxy Skull, Magic Smooth, whatever you happen to use, and it will give you scale impression. I have big pike scale impressions. I have somewhere here, I have crocodile mouth impression. Anytime you get a texture of something in, we've done lion claw marks on the outside of hippos. We've done all kinds of different impression pads. This, interesting enough, is from a melon picked up at Walmart. I don't know what kind of melon it was.
What do you do with that?
Oh, it gives great texture for, all you gotta do is fool the people. You dip this on the inside of something, put it in a hippo's mouth, rock it in there, ooh, it looks like skin.
melon.
Melon skin? Anyway, impression pads. This is elk tine. We resculpted some bunch of elk that was shot off or something. We made an impression pad of the other side, put a little magic epoxy sculpt in there, and impress it into the epoxy, and it'll give you that texture. So impression pads is another.
Mike Betts from Idaho, Carbine from Australia. Hello, hello. John Black wants to know how long does it take to get a catalog? This summer, it takes a really long time because
catalogs were in demand this year.
Okay, I have 4 left. John, I will send you one out, but we're done with the bulk mailing because we're completely running low besides the ones on our desk. So I will send you one, but otherwise they will be out, we're hoping, if I get to work on it, November 2019 catalog should hit your doors. November kind of turns to December and January, but we're pushing for November. Pushing. So we'll try.
You missed a question above
I saw that.
John's.
How long does it take, or sorry, wait, where was the...
Raylan.
To maintain the quality of mold, do you keep in good condition after use?
I do nothing.
Nothing?
No. The only thing that I would like, and I don't all the time, I notice I have molds this big that you made when you were a little bitty girl for me, and that are as big as almost this table. They're huge. They're about at least as big as half of that table. And they're up on the shelf, and they have been folded together like that. When you make them, you are going to have to prop them open because they're not I didn't have them in a mother mold. But if I were storing this, I would take newspaper and just fill it with newspaper to keep it shape and store it on a shelf. Like I said, this is 30 years and I've never done anything to it. Never.
Can you use high density foam in that mold?
Yes, you can, but high density foam sticks to latex rubber, and I do it, and it scares me when I do it, but they do come out. You want to use good mold release, probably not the Deep Flex, probably a silicone mold release, maybe a spray, and test it on a little portion first before you pour the whole rock.
Brett Wingfield's watching. Brett, you're in the same room.
Okay, now I'm going to make some room here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is how I would put a piece of rock on here. Get an idea of where you're going to go. And you're going to have several of these. Now, interesting enough, I want you to look at this. It was all made with this rock right here. I had about 5 of these, and I started cutting them, placing them on, cutting them, placing them on, cutting them, placing them on. And you can't, I always say it's like that plywood where you see the same, or flooring that you see the same knot hole over here, and hey, that's the same knot hole here, same knot hole here. There probably is the same angle. This is the same angle. It's way down over here, but twisting them and turning them, people can't tell.
You're getting some questions. Can you do the same process for stump making, which we
Oh,
also
sure.
get this question with the driftwood. And we have a kit that sells all the stuff he's talking about right here. We have a kit that comes with your latex molding, a quart of that, comes with the burlap, a paintbrush, the paint to paint, which he'll do later, a sponge, a chip brush. It comes with a little bit of everything for $30.95. And Jared Embry did an awesome driftwood piece, and the detail from the picture we saw looked pretty good.
Look great.
But yeah, so I think stumps and everything.
And that's, the latex by itself doesn't stick to things. It's pretty good about peeling off of anything. That's why when we make compression pads on the side of the fish, we peel it right off. We don't put any
What
kind of
epoxy
mold
is
mix.
best when using impression stamps?
What?
What epoxy is best, or clay, or?
We use a lot of Epoxy Sculpt, which is very similar to Magic Sculpt, and there's a whole lot of different companies that make a similar product.
Can you make a mold for a deer?
Deer, like a deer head?
I don't know, Taryn, a deer head, antlers, what do you?
That would be a hard one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Taryn also says that she would love to come visit and learn. We got a deal for you.
Yeah.
Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy. We have a 9-week winter course that teaches you everything you need to know to go start your own business. And then we also are doing a split spring session where we'll have a couple weeks of birds, a couple weeks of fish, a couple weeks of game heads.
Fiberglass fish.
Fiberglass fish. So
Area in there, and
give us a call, 1-800-488-3256. Ask for Vicki, and she will help start you in your career.
people have commented about my glasses on my forehead. I learned that from Shep Brown. Shep Brown taught me where to keep my glasses so I will always have them.
I actually talked to Shep today when he placed an order, and I don't know that he started that, but I do it all the time too. I must have got it from him.
Okay, now, if I took this rock and I just covered this entire thing with this, you're going to be able to pick this out all the time. So I like to cut my rock into pieces that I'm going to use. You can do it on a bandsaw. This is a low reciprocating saw. And this makes a really nice clean cut. Not necessary, you can use Sawzall too.
Smelly. Tony's asking how much paint comes with the kit. The kit comes with this large thing of burlap, a quart of your latex, and then 4 paint swatch colors, and your Deep Flex, a sponge, chip brush, and then full 2-sided sheets of paper. $30.95. There's 3 different color schemes. This is actually, we did a giveaway on this, so we're giving this one away today. Sorry, I cut a piece of your burlap off, whoever won it. But this is going, basically, it's a great deal. So that, he'll show you some of the paint schemes. But what'd you do? How'd you come up with the kits for the colors? You took that big old boulder and backpacked
I
it
took that
across.
great big boulder and I carried it into, here we have bomb guards. It's a little bit like a miniature farm and fleet. And or fleet and farm is it? And I carried it up to the paint counter and I tried to come up with colors to match that. And my first rock, when I show you how to paint this, my first rock really truly took, I mean a rock like this, took me 6 hours to paint before I thought it looked a little rocky. After that, I'm gonna show you how you can paint this whole base in a matter of minutes. It's very fast painting and you'll come up with a really nice job every time.
Kenneth Kipp said he made a set of bison horn molds
Sure.
today from our kit.
Let me tell you an embarrassing story. Once upon a
Love
time,
these stories.
in my early career, somebody brought me a buffalo. And I had been a taxidermist, I always say, for 20 minutes. And so I know that those caps have to come off. And I had cut the horn off of the skull because I had no way to cook the skull. And I thought, I will put the horn in a pan on the stove and I will simmer it. So I get this horn kind of cooking on the stove in our brand new house. And it's time to go to bed. You know, nothing's budging. This horn cap is not coming off of the core. And the next morning, I thought I'm just gonna turn it way down low and I'm gonna simmer it real slow. And the next morning, I woke up to the most god-awful smell ever. Our house is like ruined because I smell rotten bone and burnt. And I go out into the kitchen and my pan had cooked dry and the buffalo horns weren't in very good shape. So I called my good friend Marty Hansen and I said, Marty,
Lifesaver.
I'm in trouble. I said, I think I ruined a guy's buffalo. One was perfect, one was in good shape, and the other one was not in too good shape. And he said, you know what? He said, I've got a big one in my showroom. He said, maybe I'll make you a mold and you can use that. So he made me a rubber latex mold, exactly the way I showed you how to make that rock. And we poured it out of urethane casting plastic, and it matched the other one perfectly, and it turned out a beautiful buffalo head.
So that wasn't as bad as Mom's chicken in the...
No, that was a bad one.
Anthony wants to know if you all make your fish heads with Bondo so you don't have fat bleed over the years.
So you don't have what?
Fat bleed over the years?
Yeah, you'll want to either buy your artificial fish heads, either make them out of casting urethane, or Bondo is fine too.
And Rob Levy says live is not even Thursday. Awesome. Rob, it's your lucky day. We decide to do it every day. We're doing live. Just see this. We're doing this week Monday. We're doing since Thursday we had all the internet issues. We decided to go live today as a makeup day kind of, and we'll still be doing Thursday this week at 4:30 normal time, and that is going to be fin repair.
Fin repair and fix-its, I think.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm just trying to fashion a spot where that would look good. And I just take these pieces and I kind of come up with a spot. Sometimes I end up trimming more off of it. And I'll trim it like so. I'm going to take a screw.
John Block just called me a yuppie.
A what?
A yuppie. Instead
Do
of
they
digging,
still have them?
digging the hat. Look like a yuppie.
You know, all I'm doing is, now that didn't even hold much, but it's gonna hold enough. I'm gonna put a couple screws to hold this rock in place. Come back here.
Broden's asking if he can commute to school from Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
We actually have 2 residential 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses. You get your own room with the block, and it's very close to the school. And we also are in a tourist area, so there's a lot to do in our area.
Too much.
We're one of
For the young kids.
we're one of the biggest blue water lakes in the world.
One of 3 or something like that.
It's pretty.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So
Um,
come visit. Lots of good.
I
fishing.
cover the entire base where I think I want these. Then I take the great stuff foam, get this at any hardware store. And this one's one I used the other day, so it doesn't come out just the best, but it'll work. And I fill the voids. I want those rocks completely filled with foam.
How does Tom work in cracks?
Great, great. Everybody likes my crocs, or don't like them, one of the two. I don't know what it is. And you want to fill these rocks. I'll go through probably 2 or 3 cans of foam. I'm going to show you why in a little bit.
Shane wants to know if the spring session is going to be separate or addition to the winter course. It's actually, so the winter course is 9 weeks, and it covers your main areas, and then you're done after 9 weeks. And then if we also have an advanced course, so there's a lot of people that will do it, and they'll come back, and they'll do the advanced course, which is additional, but they'll get to pick their area where they want to excel, or maybe they were behind, or they want to take it to the competition quality. You're learning from some of the best here, so it's an awesome thing to do. You don't have to go to school here first. And then the spring one is going to be completely separate, and you get to pick which area, and you're just not here for the 9-week full.
Okay, so I have just put a whole lot of foam in there, and this foam, you can't cut it or anything till usually the next day. It takes several hours for this to harden up. It's inexpensive. I did the whole thing for, I don't know, $10 or so. Then once it's hardened up, you can just cut it and feather the rocks right onto the base. And then we're going to texture this foam stuff also. And so at every place I'll spend just a few minutes and I'll cut all of this foam, and because it's not a high density foam, it's real easy to cut. You can scrape it. I even take a sanding wheel on my drill sometimes to get it closer. When you laugh, it just scares me what you're going to say.
I was like, we gotta start carrying Crocs in the catalog.
Everyone likes your Crocs, but Randy Gold said they're very comfortable, so
They're very what?
comfortable.
They're the best. They're the best. I'm going to get insulated once for winter.
You should be fine to wear socks with them.
Socks and Crocs, socks and Crocs.
We've got a lot of school questions.
Everybody that's asking about the school, message us afterwards and send us your information. We'll send you a packet and we'll give you a call and talk to you about all the information that will come with it.
You know, I tell you a little bit about the school. We started in 1986, just to give you an idea how long we've been running. And when I started it, I think there was Nick Baranis' freeze-dried school in northern Minnesota, Nisswa, Minnesota, and there was John Reinhardt in Wisconsin, and there was Harry Paulson in Arizona. Those were the only 3. We were one of 4, and now there's been hundreds that rise and close and rise and close. But we've been doing this for 40 years, and we've turned out some pretty impressive array of world champions and state champions and national champions. It's kind of fun to see all these people. My wife gets a big charge out of sitting in the you know, at the table at the banquets of the big shows and things like that, and watching our students go up and get awards is pretty fun.
It's like your kids.
Okay, yeah, like our children. I want to show you some. Now, and you see how I filled all those cracks, and that's going to swell up even more. When it does, just take your knife or whatever tool you want to and get it trimmed down, and then I'm going to show you how to blend this rock onto the base. But, Mandy, I want you to come here. Help me set this on the floor. That's what, Mandy, I want you to come here. Okay, set it
My
right
hearing
here.
is bad today.
Now,
This is, okay, no joke. This is lighter than that rock up there.
yeah. Now, this rock, when it comes out of the mold, there's not a lot of strength there. Here's how fragile it is. Now, imagine that given it to your customer and he hangs it on the wall and punches his thumb through the side of the rock. That would not be good.
No.
But if you fill it with foam like this is kind of scary, but it's this strong,
Oh gosh.
you know, and I can jump on it and it doesn't break.
I heard it crack just a little bit. Wait, hold on, I want a picture. Yeah. Got it.
But all it takes, now you can help me put it back up here, is that foam underneath, that lightweight foam is all it takes to.
That's impressive. Did you practice that before, just to see if it was?
I would never do that. No, put this back up. Please. Shouldn't need to practice it because I'm so confident in this method. Okay, now, you need to blend. I mean, I've got hair and everything. I've got fiberglass strands and everything here. But I'm going to show you how to blend this onto here and make it look kind of rocky. So, this I'm going to do with straight auto body putty. And with our auto body putty, you can use any kind of hardener. We're going to paint it anyway. I'm using white. It's easier. Doesn't take a lot of color or a lot of paint to cover up the light gray, and it looks a little rocky already.
And we sell that white hardener separate as
Separate. I like the white hardener a lot.
And why do you prefer the white?
Because blue, like especially on rocks, blue is a little harder to paint out, and when we're making fish heads, you know, if you use the red or the blue, it's harder to paint.
For those just tuning in, this is Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and we are live every week. It's Monday, I know it's confusing, but every week Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are live for an hour. You get to enjoy us and watch tips and tricks from the talent of these guys. And today we're kind of making up last week's, but tune in Thursday for fish fin repair and fish fins.
Fix it.
Fish fins.
Okay, now I'm just covering up the union between the artificial rock and my base. And this, incidentally, if you saw last week before we got kind of cut off, I make a wood frame that all my legs, I level up the animal on a wood frame. There's a wood frame under here. If you can turn this way, you can maybe see it. And then you have to get down under here. Maybe I can tip it up a little bit.
There you go.
And then I screen over it with hardware cloth, and then I fiberglass a thin shell on it. And it gives you a really, really nice, sturdy base.
Rob Levy wants to know, for small touch-ups, they make spot putty that air dries right out of the tube.
Right.
Korean brand works really well. Oh.
Yeah. We use that a lot on our molds.
Also, when you're cutting the foam off, would a heated knife work, or would it mess it up?
I don't think a heated knife works with that kind of foam. It may, but that stuff is so soft that it cuts really easy. Really easy. Okay, now I got lacquer thinner. I've got last Thursday's lacquer thinner, so it's kind of funny colored. But I'm just going to blend this. Now, try not to put a lot of the putty, don't put that on the good texture of the rock, because this texture you molded, you don't want to mess up that. All you're doing is trying to make the foam look a little bit more rocky. And then I like to take a sponge, and this is a lacquer thinner is pretty dirty. This is just a sea sponge, and you can texture this with a brush, you can texture it with a sponge, you can texture it with wadded up newspaper, whatever works for you. And it looks a little funny to start with. And that's how I blend all of my rock pieces together. This is probably 3 or 4 of those rocks made out of that mold, all blended together. Okay, once it's all cleaned up, I even, like on some of our big mounts, like, let's say you got a big brown bear or sheep or something and somebody wants a trophy plate, I will even make a flat spot on one of these for a trophy plate. It's kind of a classy little touch.
Don't forget, we're going to be giving our $500 supply giveaway at the end, so stay tuned because you might have won it.
Okay, now, once this is all done, and you've got it all blended nice the way you wanted it, then it's time, once it's dried, to paint it. I did leave something out, just like I did last week. I had to come back and tell you. When you take these rocks out of the mold, you have to get that mold release off there, or the paint will not stick. So that Deep Flex mold release, we take it over to the sink, run some hot water, and I sprinkle it with Comet, and I scrub it with a little brush. You don't have to wash them hard or anything. It's no big deal to do it, but do make sure that you wash these, or your paint might chip off. Okay, my rock painting technique. Okay, we'll paint this part of the rock. I like to take, with any of these kits, I've got 4 colors.
What's Comet?
Say it again.
What's Comet?
Comet cleanser, like
And in your kitchen or cleaning at the store.
kind of that granular scrubbing compound. Okay, now I gotta grab me another brush. Oh, Kirsten, you're out there by yourself.
Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen.
Wrong comment.
Okay. The first step in painting this rock is any of these kits have a deep base, I call it, and then there's a shade color, and then there's a couple of rust colors. And I actually have a little method of doing this. I'll explain as I get going. But the first thing I would do is I like to paint my rocks with the deep color, and that is going to be deep base gray, because this is the Colorado blue shale. And this is a pretty dark color. And I do nothing more than paint this on straight over the entire rock, getting all your crevices, all your little crannies, scrub it right in there. And this is going to be the base in which I start. Now, if you wanted to, you could possibly shortcut this area. If you wanted to dye your Bondo, there's different plastic dyes. You could put a dark color in your Bondo or a brown in your Bondo, and that might save you this step. I've never been one much for efficiency. Okay, so that's what I did to this entire rock piece. Then I'm going to wash my brush.
For those that were wondering about the $500 supply giveaway, what we're doing is just kind of a give back thank you to our customers who always like, share, tag You can go to our Facebook page and write us a review. 5 stars only. No, I'm just kidding. But write us a review, let us know what you think, all that kind of stuff. That gives you all a chance to win.
Who pays us $500?
Mom? So, do that.
Okay. Now I need a shade gray. Okay, now the next color I'm going to put on with a sponge. You can put it on with a brush.
It's childproof.
For instance, all these people got a chance for the 500. Matt Tainer just recently did 5 stars. Tom, Vicky, Mandy, all the staff, great and helpful people. The products they sell are the best you can find, and talk about customer service. The other week I ordered 35 whitetail forms, eyes, ear liners, and some other miscellaneous stuff. I asked Tom about my shipping options as it was a large order. Tom called me back the next day and told me they were traveling through my area and he would load my order in his car and drop it off. It doesn't get any better than that. I ordered as much as I can from these guys and don't plan on changing that anytime. I'd give you 10 stars if I could. Thank you. That's pretty nice, Matt.
And our truck held
One blowout
like
later.
35 forms.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
impressive.
one blowout later.
Pretty impressive.
Okay, this is a shade gray. It's a very light color. And I don't need much paint. That's why this paint, when people are asking how long it'll last and how many rocks it'll do, I'm going to put it on very light. I gotta get a
In the
little
wind.
piece of paper.
Daniel Hunter, this is one he did, and he got in to win. He's wearing his LED safety glasses. Right there. This is kind of a hot little seller, but he says these things are a game changer. No more holding a flashlight in one hand and a tool in the other. They also have magnified version black camouflage patterns available. So thanks, Daniel.
And look at mine. Mine are magnifiers, and my rocks just turned into boulders. Is that cool?
Mine are pretty good too.
They're great. This is the best thing, you guys. If you go nightcrawler hunting, this is
fishing alone.
the best thing for nightcrawler hunting. Except don't get the magnifiers. You'll wet your pants. You'll think you're snakes.
Oh my
You know, you reach down. Don't get the magnifiers. Okay.
Those are only $17.95 too, each of them.
They're a deal.
That's a good deal.
Okay, now I'm gonna stipple, just kind of give it a lighter complexion. So I'm gonna get some of it out on my paper here. And these are all latex paints. Basically harmless. Now remember when I said that
Come say hi, Mama.
I said,
Hi.
uh-oh. You're giving away $500, I heard.
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Can everyone give my mom thumbs up and hearts so we can show her? Give this lady some love. She's giving the $500 away. Kimberly says, hey guys, thanks for all the great tips and trips. My husband is starting taxidermy, so I always watch so I can be on the same page. This is where my dad would say you need to get a life.
Yeah, if you're watching us that much, I'm a little concerned about your life.
No, we're glad you're here, glad you're watching.
We got lots of hearts.
There's your heart.
And learning, oh baby. She can't just watch, she's gotta learn too.
When putting on the base cover, can you use a sprayer or any color for that matter?
Sure, you could.
Oh, look
You
at all
could.
your little thumbs up and hearts.
Oh,
Mom,
yeah?
you're getting lots.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
More than I get from Dad.
He likes the bubbles. David McLean says, thanks, Vicki.
Yeah, David McLean, he's the best.
I think we just got his letter from him, say thank you, David.
David McLean was an ingenious little student who had ideas that I'm not so sure what they're going to look like when he gets done, but I don't know if you go on we posted some
Yeah,
of his
we
stuff,
did.
his backpack here.
He did the advanced course, too. So he did the 90s.
I
and then
thought
advanced.
I wasn't following his thinking a little bit, and I was very impressed with what he came up with.
He did do good. We got New Zealand and Australia in the house watching, Mom.
Oh baby.
Okay, now I've lightened it up, given it a light tone, but still the dark comes out. Now I'm going to wash my sponge again. And my next color is going to be yellow ochre. And yellow ochre is kind of a dirty, yellowy color. It's called ochre rust. And I saw a lot of this in the rock that I was trying to copy. And my thinking when I paint these rocks is, rocks have mineral in them. When it rains, the whole rock gets wet, but it doesn't start to rust except for where the water stays. So the water stays in all of these little valleys, and as it dries up or recedes or evaporates, it sticks the heaviest down in the cracks. So I'm going to give a nice yellow ochre hue radiating out from the cracks. So I'll just do something like this in every little recess. And then I take my sponge and I mute it so that it can't hear.
For those of you watching, if you want to see the detail, you can swipe your comments to the side and then you will get to see more pictures.
See, now that yellow ochre did not look too darn cool when I stuck it on there, but as you sponge it, this is just a damp sponge. Now you can see this rock didn't take me 6 hours like the first time I tried it. We'll just do one little section here.
Make your happy tree.
Yeah, happy little tree. Now occasionally as I'm going, I will find a little spot. I just see one down here where I've got some strands of fiberglass sticking out that don't look too good. And rather than come back and fix those, a lot of times my bases are going to have some moss on them. And that's a perfect spot. Put a little bit of moss, a little bit of pine needles down in there, rather than having to stop and come back and fix something. Okay, and put on as much as you want. The nice thing about these latex paints is that they're very easy to, if you don't like something, you can wash it off for a while. Okay, that's the yellow ochre.
Rob maybe wants to know how long it would take Brett to paint that rock. That might be a long video. Just kidding. Congrats on your awards last week. You mean paints too slow? Brett paints too slow? He did do a great job for those of you that were at Nationals. I just got he stuck his tongue out at me. Mr. Brett Wingfield did very good there.
Brett gets a bad rap because I just told him today I hold the record for painting a walleye reproduction that I've been working on for the last week.
We got another 5-star review, so that's another person that would be in the winning for 500 from Jim Eichner. Great service and prices. Will definitely be shopping again. Thank you very much, Jim.
Okay, now this is a rust type color. And we're going to do a similar thing, but we're not going to bring it out as far as we did the ochre. It's going to stay a little narrower in the bands. And you can make these as, I mean, start looking around at rocks. There's some real different colors than you wouldn't normally see.
The more you look, the more you...
Earlier I mentioned when Amber was making rocks for us one day, I said that we used to call them Jerome rocks, and they were the rocks made out of mache, and Jerome Sokolik kind of introduced them to the Iowa Taxidermy Association, and he had an entire 3-wing binder of lots of rock pictures, just like you guys have deer pictures and duck pictures and fish pictures. He had a binder full of rocks. Now, I don't know if these look like New Zealand rocks and Australian rocks,
That's
but
some, I got out of it. Hold on, give me a second. Marie Whitsworth says, well, we need more Matuska in New Zealand. Marie, we need more New Zealand at Matuskas.
There you go.
I want to go visit. You're going, you are judging the Australia show next year.
I heard that.
That will be pretty fun. So look for Tom Matuska at the Australia show.
And New Zealand, I think.
Is that next?
Same time.
Oh, really?
Oh, we'll go for you.
Okay, now, is it looking, I mean, you can change now. Remember how I said different elements? You need rocks, you need dirt, you need pine needles, all that sort of thing. Kind of the same thing with your rocks. If something's missing, maybe so far we only have a couple colors. Try adding. Don't be afraid to experiment and add a little bit of rust on the surface. I got it mostly down in the cracks, but. Okay, then, how about one of those really nice paint pens that you guys have? Do you
The
have one?
water brush.
Oh, not just for fish, multi-purpose tool. This is a new one. So some of these products, if you don't see them in the catalog, it's because they're online and they're new.
These things are the best thing ever.
I notice you every time I come back here, you're using it on your fish.
It's
So
got
show us,
water.
explain.
It's got water in the barrel. It never dries out. I dipped it in my paint. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get heavy rust. You might have to get a close-up of this. Heavy rust. Like sharp cracks.
And you've been using it for scale tipping.
Oh yeah. You can use it for deer head finishing. You can use it for anything. And they wash up. I just use it on water products. Don't use it with lacquers.
And why not?
I think they say solvents aren't good for it, but I haven't tried it yet.
They're pretty inexpensive. I think they're about $5, $4, $5 a pen. Singles and 3-packs. Online at new products, on our new products tab.
Now I literally have built an entire rock wall mountain doing this exact thing. But that's kind of what I'm getting here.
What are you thinking you want to give away this week? Huh? What's that look for?
I thought you had it.
No, I don't know what we decided on.
That's
Was
why,
it
yeah.
molding latex?
Molding
latex
latex?
or
Yes.
the gloves and thing? Which one do you guys want? Molding latex giveaway or the gloves? These great.
Those gloves I showed on the Thursday, we do a lot of solvents with our birds or lacquer thinner or cleaning parts or things like that. And the neoprene gloves do not hold up in lacquer thinner. These new gloves that Mandy got, I tried making the lacquer thinner dissolve them and it wouldn't do it. So I was most impressed with them. And they're probably about the same price, aren't they?
We could do the paint pen. People are liking your paint pen too.
All right, we can do that.
Give a pack of 3 paint pens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Good.
don't go away just yet, but we've got the $500 supply giveaway winner coming up at the end. But if you guys go like our post, give us lots of bubbles, share it. There's a share button right by the comments, so share it and let people know what we're doing and that we're doing this for you guys. And also comment and tag your friend, and you guys will be in the chance to win the paint pens.
So you already know who this $500 winner is, don't you?
I do.
And you never told me.
This person may have lost some friends on his Facebook page because he was sharing so much. They may have gone down a little
I'm
bit.
surprised. You usually keep me abreast with that stuff, and I
Well,
don't
we
know who
mentioned
it is.
him pretty much. I can show you. Can't tell him yet. We don't want people to go away. But like, share, tag a friend for the paint pen.
Let me be surprised just like he is.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll do that.
fair.
Okay, how am I looking here? Is this looking a little rocky? Maybe go down. there's the part that I finished the most. Now in addition to this, a tour actually goes on this. We got 2 feet up here, foot here, foot here. He's kind of walking up with his 2 feet elevated. In addition to the rocks, there's going to be soil down here, something to match kind of the rock color. There's going to be grasses growing up. We're going to drill holes right in here. If you're going to plant a lot of grasses, it's a good idea to take urethane foam, the good stuff like the 3-pound density, and pour a thin layer on your bare areas. It, one, strengthens your base a lot, but it also gives some body for your grasses to go in there. And what we use for grass, we have the imported grass from India, and it's like the best grass there is. It comes in a multitude of colors, and we will plant all of this grass in here, not to overdo it, and we don't want to make a dust collector, but just to add another element to our base. We will probably have a little shale slide. I take the same rock and I take the pieces of it, like the little pieces like this, and crunch them up and put a little bit of Bondo down there and push all the little flecks down in there, and it looks like a little crushed shale, like it comes off the glacier. It adds a really nice look. We'll put a little bit of soil up on the top. You could add icicles, you can add snow, you can add all kinds of different things to make this look nice. This will have a nice walnut base around it, probably on wheels. What do you think of that?
How do you glue down dirt?
We glue down dirt, typically with Elmer's glue. On a fiberglass base like this, sometimes I will put polyester resin. I will put polyester resin down, a nice coat. I will pack my dirt onto it really hard, and then I will dump it off, and wherever it didn't stick, I will patch those areas. On the top, so that it doesn't dust off on the top, we take Elmer's glue and water in about maybe a 30-70 mix, and we spray on a weak Elmer's glue mixture from the top, which soaks down and glues it on. You don't want this in somebody's nice trophy room with sand and gravel and dirt falling off in the trophy room. If it's a foam base or something like that, I will use straight Elmer's glue and push the dirt down into the Elmer's glue. The next day I will shake it off and patch any spots that it didn't stick.
John Black says, just send me the pen already. For those of you, there's a lot of people that watch the video after we are live. We will still keep it open. So if you're watching late and it's not live, still like, share, tag a friend, and you'll still have a chance to win before next Thursday. Well, Thursday technically, because we're doing it Thursday, 4:30 Central Time. We'll be doing
Fish fins and
fish
fix-its.
fins and fix-its. So tune in for that.
And that's going to be a good one. We have, fins are really important, and we have a lot of ratty fins in the people's showroom. So we're going to show you how to make your fins look real professional.
Say hi to Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Matuska's watching.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
All right, the $500 winner, $500 supply winner will be on your account for you to get as many paint pens as you want.
Zowie.
Bradley Grabber.
Oh, wow. He's been in the running from the very beginning.
He has been. That's why I said I think he lost some friends on Facebook.
Congratulations, Brad.
Yeah, way to go, Brad. So you will have that on your account to start going.
$500, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. A big thank you to everybody for liking, sharing, following us. It means a lot to us. We wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you very much. Is that all we got?
Rock paint kit winner.
Oh, rock paint kit winner. 3 weeks ago. Rock paint kit winner. We did this one. The whole kit and caboodle. These are $30.95 in the catalog. There's 3 different color variations. You get the burlap, the sponge, the deep flex mold release, 4 different things of paint colors, chip brush, your latex molding, basically everything that he put that together.
The only
to
thing
get
we
there.
don't have is the auto body putty.
Yep, there you go. But $30.95 online, but the winner for this one is Justin Bach. So congratulations,
Way to go,
Justin. We will get this out to you. Let us know again, we'll be live Thursday. Comment in your questions. Even if you have questions and we're not live when you're watching this, let us know. We usually go back through and we will answer them for you. So if we miss your questions, we'll get to them But give us a call, 1-800-488-3256. For those that requested the catalog, again, I am so low on catalogs. So basically, they're going out with orders if you call them in. But we do have a high-res flip book online. So at the bottom of our website, you can download that flip book and look at it anytime, print it off, do whatever you want. But otherwise, they should be going November, December, January-ish in your
Lots of new products coming, lots of fun new products, mannequins,
If you miss our sales, give us your email list so you don't miss those.
mule deer.
There's Brad Crabber.
Yeah, congratulations.
That it?
You knew you got it. All right, thanks guys. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
Thursday at 4:30. We'll still be live.